tonight. The Kingston wildfire has destroyed over 200 structures, and government says that number will likely grow.
And we didn't have insurance, so our home is gone, and we don't even know if we can rebuild.
That was the only place I had to go to, right? And I was lost.
So safety is paramount. It's got to be painstaking as well.
I get more teary-eyed over all the gestures of kindness.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. We begin with the wildfires still burning on the island. The three major wildfires in Kingston, Paddy's Pond, and Martin Lake are still considered out of control, but officials say crews are optimistic after another day of low temperatures and high humidity. Here and Now's Henrika Wilhelm joins us live from the newsroom. So, Henrika, you were at the government briefing this morning, and despite that positive outlook, the provincial government also gave a devastating update on the destruction in Conception Bay North.
Yes, as I said last night, the province has started the process of notifying more residents of the area who have lost their homes, and they provided a detailed breakdown during this morning's briefing. According to that, a total of 203 metered structures have been lost, and that number could still climb as the assessment of the area continued. 12 structures were destroyed in Kingston, 33 in Small Point, Broad Cove, Blackhead, Adams Cove, 86 in Western Bay, 59 in Ocrapit Cove, and 13 in Northern Bay. And Justice Minister John Haggie says it's important to be thorough before notifying someone.
We've already had at least one incident that I'm aware of where someone was notified that their house had been destroyed, only to subsequently find out that that was their garage, their shed. The house itself was still intact, because it's that difficult to identify what that lump on the ground turns out to be.
Premier Hogan also said that there have been some hurdles in connecting with impacted residents. Only 61 of 86 impacted Western Bay residents had been notified as of this morning. He said of the remaining 25, 10 phone numbers were out of service and 9 people didn't answer. Now, to help fight the Kingston fire, the province privately sourced 2 Black Hawk helicopters from Utah at an estimated cost of $3.3 million. While they did arrive Saturday, they are not being used to their full capacity, flying and dousing the flames at night, as the approval for that is tied up with the federal government.
It involves not only Transport Canada, but the FFA and the United States as well. So 2 approvals were asked for, and we got the one to bring them into Canada and to allow them to work here. But it remains outstanding in terms of them being able to fly at night.
As the region has seen cooler temperatures and rain over the past few days, Hogan said officials are getting closer to being able to determine a reopening of communities. But neither evacuation orders nor alerts will be lifted just yet. As for the Paddy's Pond fire, there is a sense of optimism as crews have been able to contain the fire within its boundaries and the fuel break is holding. While it's still classified as out of control, that's re-evaluated daily, and officials hope resources could move from that fire to the Kingston fire soon. Now, the Martin Lake fire in central Newfoundland also remains out of control and active with many hotspots and smoke, but there has been no growth and a fire line has been established. Officials said almost 40 millimeters of rain yesterday and into today helped firefighting efforts there, and while Route 360 will stay open, some forest access roads in the area still remain closed to the public. Reporting live from the newsroom, I'm Henrika Wilhelm.
Well, the province's forest fire duty officer says that weather was a big help in firefighting efforts today. After weeks of heat, the rain and cooler temperatures are making a difference.
Certainly, we had a positive day today with rain across much of the island. Ground crews were on site and continue to work their assigned blocks as planned, and overall it was a productive day. Rain certainly has a cooling effect and helps, not only with the temperatures, but also with the fire suppression activities. So it's a positive overall.
As Henrika had mentioned, government says the estimated number of structures destroyed in the Kingston fire has now doubled to 200. And of course, that is just devastating news for many evacuees. Here and Now's Ryan Cook was in Carbonear today to get a sense of how people are coping.
Well, devastating news coming out of the Premier's press conference this morning that more than 200 structures have now been lost to the Kingston fire. And that includes 86 from the small town of Western Bay alone. Here at the evacuation center today, we've been meeting people from Western Bay, including some who took a devastating phone call yesterday.
She hated to tell us, but our home had been lost in the fire. And I mean, she was really kind about it, and there was all kinds of supports that we could get, but there's nothing going to replace your home. And we didn't have insurance, so our home is gone, and we don't even know if we can rebuild.
Elsa Fitzgerald lost more than just her home. An amputee, she left her prosthetic leg in her home when she fled the fire.
11:30 in the night we got the call. I never even thought to grab my leg. I said, well, that'll give it a couple of days rest and it'll be healed up when I go home. But now my leg is gone. There's parts of my wheelchair gone, my foot rests and leg rests, and that's it, it's all gone.
This beautiful shoreline, seen here in better days, has been the site of absolute destruction since the fire breached the community 2 weeks ago. Among the few structures left standing is Joe O'Leary's home in Western Bay, where it stood for 57 years. What do you think you're going to be feeling when you go back into Western Bay?
Loneliness, I think, because a lot of the post office was right across from me, and Cole's store, that's all gone. I live with that. That was there every day, every morning you wake up, it's there. Yeah.
And now it's all gone.
Now it's all gone, yeah.
But the beauty of Western Bay won't soon be forgotten, and its people won't leave easily.
Do you hope to go back?
Oh, I'm definitely going back. Supposing I do have to pitch a tent. I've got a winterized tent I can borrow, and I've got a wood stove that can go into it. And if I got to do that, then that's what I'm going to do. I got to go back. That's home.
Ryan Cook, CBC News, Carbonear.
Well, staying with the Kingston wildfire, one evacuee from Blackhead worries the rebuilding process will take years. David Milley is the retired owner of Solid Construction. He says crews from around the province will be needed.
I think there's roughly 12 contractors from Kingston to Old Perlican, mostly smaller crews, 2 to 5 people. There's not enough manpower on the shore to build all the houses that'll be required in a quick period of time. Most of the crews out there can probably build a couple of turnkey houses a year at best. So, to do 100 homes, that would be next to impossible with the amount of labor that's available.
Water is flowing again in the town of Sunnyside, but that wasn't the case on the weekend when its water supply ran dry, forcing the town to declare a state of emergency. The CBC's Heather Gillis reports.
So this is all rigged up with pumps are over here.
This is what Sarah Tickner and her husband had to rig up behind their bed and breakfast and RV park in Sunnyside when the town's water supply ran dry Saturday. Sunnyside declared a state of emergency.
That's when the panic set in, and we went about getting together everything we could. Up to this point, probably about $1,500 worth of equipment.
She had to stockpile drinkable water, too. With no running water, flushing toilets, or showers at the height of tourism season, Tickner had to notify guests.
We had to call all of our bookings and tell them we have no water. We have no way to actually pump through the RV system.
She says thankfully no one canceled. Next door at Eric Reed's, the water is flowing again, but the 82-year-old had to pump and haul water from a river too. After weeks of hot weather, he says he hasn't seen anything like this in decades.
We had dry summers, but not as bad as this summer.
Reed can take care of himself, but not everyone in the community can.
Sunnyside is a town of seniors. Majority of seniors, and I spoke with a couple of them, and they're just in a right state. If it wasn't for their family helping, They said they'd probably have to call police or somebody to step in because they would be in a state of emergency.
Meanwhile, up at the town's water supply, workers have been pumping water in from other ponds, taking a day and a half to fill it all up again and then get things flowing.
Well, what we need is a better water supply.
Tickner agrees and says when towns run dry, they need more help.
Where is our government officials? Where are the people we voted into government, our local MHAs, and that to step in with more help?
The town has been supplying some drinking water. This afternoon, it said on social media the water was fully back on, and they're asking people to conserve and boil before using. Heather Gillis, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, after 3 days on the picket line, the strike by Air Canada's flight attendants is over. A tentative contract agreement has been reached, and the airline can begin the process of getting its planes back in the air. The union has given few details on the agreement, but says it does guarantee ground pay for its members, something that's been a major sticking point in the talks so far. In a statement, CUPE says unpaid work is over. Well, the Muse Center in St. John's now has an official closing date. The City of St. John's says after 50 years of recreation, the Muse Center will officially close on Thursday, August 28th. Now, to celebrate, the city is offering several free activities for residents to enjoy one last time at the Muse. And on its final day, the pool will be allowing dogs to go for a swim as well. The new Muse Center will open on September 15th. Well, a couple in Western Bay was set to get married in their front yard this month, but a series of evacuations put a stop to their plans, and this week, the couple found out their home was among those destroyed in the Kingston fire. Now, despite that, the couple says the wedding will still go ahead.
It's a hard pill to swallow to think that it's completely gone. Do you know what I mean? Like, we had the planters ready with the string lights and the hooks and the archway we made out of birch sticks, and
all set up in the yard, ready to go.
It was all there, right, ready. We could watch the fire from our yard, and we just got put on an alert. And I, being me, like I was stubborn. So my sister's like, I really think that you should start packing up some stuff. And I was like, I'm not going at it right now. Like, you could just give me a bit. Anyhow, she came up, her and her husband, and I think there was like 3 or 4, like her children and kids with them. And she said, you're taking all your wedding stuff. And we started in. We gathered as many cats and as the dogs. We had 3 dogs, and we have 8 cats in total. 2 were feral that we couldn't touch. They were inside, and 1 outside. We never got her. And my parents were in a couple communities down there in Burnt Point. So Dad got a big garage and it's like a loft, like a done-up loft up top. So we moved everything down there, the cats and all of our wedding stuff. I put my wedding dress on a set of moose antlers out in the garage. And I went to sleep that night, like looking at that. It was horrible. We were on a mattress with the kids were everywhere. They were on Chesterfields, they were on the floor, there was dogs. It was a horrible, horrible night. Not thinking that my parents would get evacuated as well. So then we had to move all of that stuff again. For the second time. We got a tent. We got a 20 by 60 tent, and we already had all that stuff in order. So we just changed the location for them to come. And one of my bridesmaids never took her dress, so that got lost in the fire. But a good citizen on Facebook, she had one exact same color, and she said you can have it free of charge. So we got that and got it altered. We lost 30 bottles of wine that I had to rebuy. So I told everyone that every drop of that wine must be gone.
Well, certainly good news today as everybody's been talking about the weather much nicer for fighting these fires. Temperatures only in the teens today, which is certainly great news. And as far as the satellite goes, lots of rain this afternoon as well. Nearly 40 millimeters falling through Central over that fire, and then some more across the Kingston fire as well. I'll have all those details and a look ahead when I come back.
Well, 100 volunteers are helping at the evacuation center in Carbonear every day and sharing in the heartbreak as people learn their homes have been lost. But amid all of that sadness, volunteers say there's also generosity and kindness.
Despite the many sad times here, there are, a lot of heartwarming moments, and I think I speak on behalf of all the volunteers that I get more teary-eyed over all the gestures of kindness that I've seen done here than over some of the other stuff, because there's just endless and countless gestures of kindness from across the country, across the world. I mean, within this building, on this parking lot, it's just endless.
Now to the Canada Games. With week 2 underway of the Canada Games, the rain today caused a few postponements, but not for the sport of diving, a sport that features a team of one. Here now's Jeremy Eaton has been bouncing around between the field house today for volleyball, a bit of artistic swimming, and now platform diving. He joins us live now from the loud pool deck at the Ack Arena. So Jeremy, how is our lone diving hopeful feeling today?
I'll tell you one thing, Carolyn, it's loud in here. So basically there's a diver about to go taking off the 3 meter there. You can just take this in for a second. And then right away, as soon as the diver hits the water, the place goes a little bit crazy. Now, of the 20 divers who are on that 3 meter platform behind us, the 3 meter springboard, is Juan Diego Palma. He's a 12-year-old living here in St. John's at his first ever Canada Games, and he is the lone member of Team Newfoundland and Labrador's diving team, competing on a board that he has not really trained on in the last 2 years because the Ack Arena has been closed for renovations for the Canada Games. But despite all that, the young man has persevered, worked hard with his coach, aka his dad, Jose Palma, to make it this far. Now, we caught up with him earlier this afternoon, and here's a little of what they had to say. How long have you been in diving?
Well, since I was like 3 years old.
3 years old. So that's a lot, that's like 9 years. Have you gone to many big competitions?
I've gone to Pan Am Championships and Nationals.
So you're getting ready for the Canada Games here in St. John's where you live now. How are you feeling?
Pretty nervous and very excited. Like I'm already ready to compete.
You're not ready or you are ready?
I am ready.
What events will you compete in today?
Today I'm competing the artistic event on 3 meter, but that's the only event I'm competing right now, but at least I get to compete in the Canada Games.
I know it hasn't been an easy year. You haven't been able to practice on the tower as much. Did you get a chance to do some diving here in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah. For a few weeks I've been actually very lucky because I got some practice.
There'll probably be a crowd here tonight. Will that make you more nervous or less nervous, or how will you feel with having people here in the stands?
It makes me feel much better. Like I like when people are cheering for me, and it makes me happy.
Juan Diego is not because my son, but he's a great diver, great athlete, and he can handle the heights, and he found a way how to handle in short time the least to compete in artist event now. So exciting, nervous at the same time, but so overall happy because he made it and he's here now.
And as the coach of not only your son but Team Newfoundland, are you nervous about the competition getting underway today?
Yes, nervous, exciting, happy because I know he will have fun a lot. He have been talking about, dreaming a lot about this scenario now. Yes, that's all about. Feel happy, and whatever happens, I will feel so happy. And the experience is the most that he will learn.
So he's only 12 years old. The next Canada Games is 4 years old. He'd still be allowed to dive. Do you think that's something he might work towards or want to do?
Oh yes, he said that I am competing now in 3 meter, but next time I'm gonna compete in the 3 events. We have all events, and exciting. He's like a medal hunter, so he will work for it.
Walked out the door this morning to smell the smoke. It was so intense this morning.
Yeah, we talked about that wind shift yesterday, but when it actually happens, it was quite significant. Take a look at this for downtown, the Water Street area. The air quality peaked this morning around noon. And what I mean by air quality peaking is we saw the worst air quality that we've seen in quite a while. The higher you get there on the index is the poor air quality. So we saw that around noon as those winds shifted from southwesterly to northwesterly this afternoon. And then once that rain fell, we started to see a drop in that. But basically, you can continue to see the poor air quality at times over the next couple of days, really, because these winds are going to stay up. So air quality alert still in effect. And again, that will be in effect for as long as the Kingston fire is still burning. And then an air quality statement for the eastern portion of the Avalon. Because of these northwest winds. And like I said, the northwest winds aren't gusting too much at the moment, but as we head through the day tomorrow, we'll start to see some gusts 50, maybe even 60 kilometers per hour through the day on Wednesday. That will continue into Thursday as well into the afternoon, and we'll see a little bit of a break after that. So the reason why we have these northerly winds at the moment is an area of low pressure now that is offshore. That's what brought all that rain earlier today as well. As far as amounts go, from what I can see, at least in the St. John's area, we picked up about 15 millimeters, somewhere between 10 to 15 millimeters of rain this afternoon. Areas along the northeast coast, like Lewisport area, upwards of 50 plus millimeters from that. And then on the Martin Lake fire, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, about 40 millimeters of rain fell, much needed rain. But for now, most of the heaviest rain has now moved offshore, but we're going to continue to see those shower chances as we head through the night tonight because of that area of low pressure, and mainly it will be along the northeast coast. Now those winds also keeping temperatures quite cool. 8 degrees right now in Twillingate, 9 in Lassie, and then areas along the south coast are still sitting between 14 to 16 degrees. Now, as we head through the next couple of days with these northerly winds, your temperatures are actually going to be the warmest of the lot. So taking a look right now at Hurricane Erin, rather, this afternoon actually saw some wind shear kind of helping to weaken the storm a little bit, down to a Category 2 at the moment. Those sustained winds still about 165 kilometers per hour, but gusts are near 205. And then the track of this is still to make a turn to the north, and then eventually, by the time we get into the weekend, pass well south of Newfoundland at the moment. At least that's what it's looking like, and I don't really see anything significant because because most of the models are pointing at this. Now, that is going to keep most of the rain, pretty much all of the rain, offshore, but we could see some gusty winds in the Saturday-Sunday timeframe, depending just how close we do see that track. But it is a good we will see some pretty high seas with this, mainly for southern and southeastern portions of the island. So we could be seeing somewhere between 3 to maybe 5 meter waves. So certainly the food fishery this weekend is not going to be great, that's for sure. Taking a look at the temperatures tonight, we are going to dip into the single digits. Overall, a little warmer to the east, but again, those northwest winds are going to stick around. And then taking a look at the temperatures for tomorrow, along the northeast coast, that shower chance will continue along with gusty winds and cooler temperatures, only about 12 to 13 degrees. The warmest temperatures will be on the south coast or away from that onshore flow, where daytime highs will likely be between 18 and 20 degrees, and the best chance of sunshine west and south. Then for Labrador, other than a few showers for Lab West, it's looking pretty nice. Temperatures ranging quite dramatically from 10 to about 20 degrees. I'll get a look at your long-range forecast when I come back.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, returning to the wildfire coverage, Premier John Hogan says he doesn't have buyer's regret for hiring 2 Black Hawk helicopters to help fight the wildfires. The province is paying over $3 million to a private contractor in the United States. And one of the benefits of these Black Hawks is that they can continue operating at night, so continue to fight the fires in the dark. But as it turns out, regulatory red tape got in the way of that happening.
They have been used. They have not been used yet at night. We're working with the Federal Aviation Agency to get clearance for them to fly at night. So we did talk about this morning, trying to get a little bit more urgency with our federal partners to get that clearance.
Can you explain a bit more what goes into that and why that clearance hasn't been given yet?
I don't have a lot of information on that. I know it involves not only Transport Canada, but the FFA and the United States as well. So 2 approvals were asked for, and we got the one to bring them into Canada and to allow them to work here. But it remains outstanding in terms of them being able to fly at night.
Did government know that they weren't able to fly at night before they...
Yeah, we knew we had to work through a process, but it wasn't an easy task to even get them here to fly during the day. There were some logistics and steps that we had to get over and hurdles to get over to get them here for the day. So that is a help, of course. There's 2 extra heavy helicopters now working on these fires. So there's still upside in them being here. There'll be additional upside, of course, if we can get over that other hurdle to fly them in the nights.
Do you have any sense of buyer's remorse that you brought in these helicopters that you were hoping to use at night and now you can't?
No, because we're still using them throughout the day, so definitely no buyer's remorse there. And we still may be able to use them in the night. We're working through that process right now. But again, the fact that they're there all day while they're here is obviously a big help.
I'd just add to that, if I could, Premier, the fact that these machines are in incredibly high demand. The market is incredibly competitive, so the fact that we were able to get 5 helicopters that can bucket 1,100 gallons in comparison to a 415 water bomber that drops 1,600 helicopters, along with the agility that those helicopters provide in terms of working specific hot spots. There's certainly no buyer's remorse on our part.
Well, the provincial forest fire duty officer agrees the Black Hawk helicopters are a big help with the daytime fire suppression. Brian Oak says even if the choppers were able to fight the fires at night, they would still have to take other logistical and safety issues into consideration.
From a ground crew's perspective, you have the darkness to deal with. A lot of these sites now, whether it be power lines and such, there's environmental hazards around that crews are evaluating throughout the day, so they may be more difficult to see at night. In addition, just the aerial attack piece there with operating at night and having that coordination without the line of sight potentially could create additional operational challenges. Overall, they're a welcome support to our aerial support team. They are heavy lift helicopters. They are quite effective. And we are using them, so no different than operating in the daytime. They do have timeout periods and a number of hours, flight hours per day, so certainly that would come into effect as well.
Well, a retired firefighter is sharing how he would examine the Kingston fire to determine the cause. Scott Tilley now works as a fire investigator, and he believes some of the recent fires in Conception Bay North may have been intentional.
Like for the wildfire investigations you've done, what has been some of the, give folks an idea of the range of ignition sources for wildfires?
This time of the year now, glass or bottles or stuff like that on the ground, as the sun is passing over them, it gets to a point somewhere where the ground is so dry and the ignition temperature of the fuel is lowered so much that it doesn't take much of a magnifying of your light from the sun to ignite the grass beneath it, along power lines, a piece of insulators. If an insulator cracks off a pole, that could be on the ground, and light could go through. The sun could go through that and magnify. I'm sure all those fires that are, on the North Shore, in a 3-month period, like there's 11 or 12. I'd highly suggest that all of those are not accidental fires,
Yeah. So
I don't know that, but,
So when we talk, exactly, you as a fire investigator, when we talk about the Kingston fire, you would have questions over because it's time of day frequency in the range of a few months from May up until just a little while ago. And we know we've talked to folks in this community, in the surrounding area. Folks are on edge there, and they're wondering. So this is just you kind of looking at and putting a big question mark over things. Yeah,
I would. Yeah, I'd map that whole place out and put on a vector diagram everywhere those fires have started.
Yeah.
Then I would go and I would retrieve videotape from people's cell phones all over the place, put out a public announcement. Because if someone is lighting those fires, if it's the same person lighting those fires, they usually stay around. Textbook would, suggest that those people like to watch, the firemen in action. They'd be on video somewhere.
How has stuff changed over the years from back when you started with seeing wildfires back then and what you're seeing now? Like, what is your thought process on this summer compared to previous years and your experience?
Yeah, everybody's frightened to death. I'm even frightened in the morning when I get up and say, oh my God, I hope there's no fires today because it's such a hot day. You're never going to get ahead of it. And then your local fire department got to go down and deal with that initially. And those fellas and girls are getting beat up down the woods, They're taxed to death from the heat. The heat is just beating them up,
From hotel bills to damaged property to losing an entire home, many people will face big expenses from the wildfires. Bill Buckingham is president of the Insurance Brokers Association of Newfoundland and Labrador. He answered some common insurance-related questions on the St. John's Morning Show.
What do people need to know about in terms of their home insurance?
We've had more inquiries than claims at this point. We've had calls, brokers have had calls about, I think my home is gone. People are asking, what should I do? How do I open a claim? When can I open a claim? For wildfires in particular, a standard homeowner's policy does cover wildfire. So if you have fire insurance, it certainly covers wildfire. Under a standard homeowner's policy, generally speaking, there are a coverage called additional living expenses. So for the homeowner who needs to move out of their home under an evacuation order, so keep in mind it has to be under a civil authority, the government must say you must leave, there is coverage there for that, for expenses additional such as hotels, extra food, things of that nature. I wish I had a crystal ball, but history has shown that the more natural disasters that we have, and we're having them more and more each year, the 10-year storm is now a second-year storm, and insurers look at this and they need to make a profit as well. So if claims are rising, premiums can tend to rise. Over the last few years, I think many people, me included, have seen our home insurance premiums rise, and it truly is a result of the claims that we're seeing, not just across Canada, but even in North America. People don't realize that a fire in LA does have a ripple effect into Canada and then trickles down into Newfoundland.
Well, in other news, the Canadian Coast Guard in Placentia responded to a sinking ship off Cape Breton this week, but when they arrived, a fishing vessel had already performed the rescue mission.
Water was coming over the actual vessel and flooding the deck at the same time as the engine room while we were losing power to our pumps because of the water in the engine room. And then it was time to leave because there was nothing we could do, no more pumps, and she was lifting over hard.
Well, the crew of a Nova Scotia-based fishing vessel called the Atlantic Treasure was returning from a trip to the Grand Banks when a seawater pipe burst on board. A Coast Guard helicopter was dispatched, but a nearby fishing vessel showed up first after hearing the Mayday call. All 13 people are now safely back in Cape Breton, and the captain of the vessel credits good planning and safety training for the positive outcome.
It's a bad feeling, of course, because we're 200 miles away from land, and you knew these guys were in this life raft in the dark for 3 hours with nothing. So it was, I felt for him, but at the same time, just before he got in the life raft, I had spoken to him, so he knew I was on the way.
Well, inflation cooled in the month of July. That's according to the latest economic snapshot for the country from Statistics Canada. The annual inflation rate fell to 1.7% last month, down from 1.9% in June, just slightly below what economists were forecasting. The agency says the slowdown was thanks largely to relief at the gas pumps, but it also came as grocery and shelter costs were accelerating last month. As we reported last night, women's baseball made its debut at the Canada Games. Team Newfoundland and Labrador hosted its cross-country counterparts, Team British Columbia. While BC made quick work of the local team, the significance of the game wasn't lost on the players, fans, and parents. Here are some of the sights and sounds from Jeremy Eaton's time at the field last night.
Let's go!
We got here around 5 o'clock, 4:45.
And what's going through your mind as the dad of one of these players here about to step on the field and make some Canada Games baseball history?
I think it's fantastic for girls baseball and the province here and right across Canada for them to be involved with the Canada Games. It's just fantastic.
Who's on this shirt of yours?
So it's our daughter, Greta Andrews, and she's playing baseball tonight.
So whose idea was it for the shirts, you or your mom?
My mom. She got it from one of her friends, and the idea just came across the whole team, it looks like.
So we made these like signs of her to help cheer her on.
What does your sister think of these? Has she seen these? What does she think?
She hasn't seen any of this yet.
This evening, President and CEO of the Canada Games Council, Kellyanne Paul, will also present Jada with the King Charles III Coronation Medal. Let's give a huge round of applause to Jada Lee.
Oh, super proud, and as a woman, as an athlete, but as a family member, it's really important for women's sports and gender equity. And so when we look at having this sport of baseball in the Canada Games, it's a pretty big deal. And I think in a number of years they'll be in the history book for this, and we'll be even more proud.
Number 19, number 4, these next, Emma Lecomte. And second, number 12, number 14.
Well, the pool at the Canada Games in St. John's was packed with athletes, coaches, and cheering fans. Swimming is one of the few sports at the Games where athletes of all abilities compete at the same venue, bringing together able-bodied para-athletes and Special Olympians. The CBC's Elizabeth Chu brings us that story.
Flexing his arms during warm-up in front of his hometown crowd in St. John's, Tyler Robinson is bringing his best to the Canada Games.
In the pool, I was been working hard, and coaches are going to push me hard, and oh yes, I very amazing and very cool at the pool. And, oh yes, I feel pumped up.
Robinson is a Special Olympian. He has Down syndrome, and here at the country's largest multi-sport event, he's one of the team pushing himself and his teammates for medals.
Before a race, he's always saying good job, always giving fist bumps. He's just a great guy to have around.
Does that help you as you compete in the pool?
Well, I mean, he's been by the pool every event I've swam, so I mean, it's nice to have someone there cheering on for you no matter what, right?
Over at Team PEI, 14-year-old Veronica McClellan is making waves for her province.
I have won 2 bronze medals. I am also the first athlete on PEI to get a medal and the first swimmer in PEI to get 2 medals at a Games.
Her 2 medals, her swim team's only points on the board. With her disability, she swims differently.
I have Erb's palsy in my right shoulder. It mostly affects my range of motion, so I can't really do full circles with my right arm.
Her swim coach, Edie Roberts, is also a physiotherapist.
So it's why I do para-swimming, because it really gives you the advantage of understanding her body. And I know what movements are safe and not safe, and what to push and what to avoid. And it just gives me a better understanding of how to train her properly.
The medals won in the pool, whether they're earned by an able-bodied athlete, a para-athlete, or a Special Olympian, they are all considered equal, and they count towards the team's overall points. Robert says equity in the medals count, just like the team members who deliver them.
Canada Games is the national event once every 4 years for youth at anything below a national team, and it's the cream of the crop, and why wouldn't para-swimmers be here?
The competition is fierce and friendly. This is Jade Harvey's first Games. She's from Quebec.
My friend Tyler is just behind me. I love burn to my heart.
It all makes for moments that'll be remembered for a lifetime. Elizabeth Chu, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, the basketball portion of the Canada Games may be over, but one local player has received some national recognition for his performance. Ryder English scored a whopping 37 points in Team NL's opening game, a win over Northwest Territories. Now, the performance caught the eye of Basketball Canada, which released this highlight reel on Instagram. Ryder English is the son of local basketball great Carl English. Here Now's Jeremy Eaton spoke with Ryder about his high-scoring debut.
It was a good game. When I hit my first shot, I knew it was going to be a good game because all the fans there and just my adrenaline was pumping. So after I hit my first shot, I just thought everyone was going in.
Canada Basketball made a reel about you. I don't know if you've seen it.
I did see it. It's up on my Instagram, and yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, I loved it.
It is time for the weather. Carl is out and about.
Yes, there are a lot of folks here in the Avalon Mall cinemas playing chess.
How do you do, sir?
Okay, time for a look at the long-range forecast, and things certainly taking a turn. More rain on the way?
Ish. For some areas, it's actually going to clear out for a little bit, and we're in for a bit of a dry, another time dry, but it's going to be much cooler than it has been, that's for sure. Let's take a look at what's going on. A few of us are still going to see some showers, though, thanks to this area of low pressure that's just going to be kind of hanging out offshore through the day on Thursday, but it could bring some showers to coastal areas of Labrador, potentially the northern peninsula, but otherwise, Nice big ridge of high pressure is going to dominate. That's good that it's there because it's keeping the hurricane offshore. So that's the good news from that. But overall, we'll see some shower activity potentially for the western portions of Labrador and then again towards the coast as we head into the evening hours. But the rest of us will see some sunshine. Now, northern peninsula along the northeast coast, you'll see your clouds on the increase through the day. But temperatures will start to warm up. So this is where we should be sitting this time of year, about 19 to 21 degrees across the island. Northern peninsula, around 15 degrees will be your daytime high. And then the coast of Labrador will hang out in the single digits because you're going to be in onshore flow for the most part. Otherwise, Lab City, Happy Valley, Goose Bay will sit in the upper teens through the day. North coast overall around 10 degrees. Now, as we look ahead to Friday, again, that area of low pressure kind of still sitting there. We may see a few showers by Friday morning for the coast, depending on how close that gets. Again, up across Labrador, a few showers for you as well. And then as we head into the afternoon, we may see some showers through central. So overall, a little bit of an unsettled day. You'll still see some sunshine in the mix there as well. But our temperatures are going to dip a little bit. So anywhere from about 12 to 20 degrees, depending on where you are across the province, particularly along the south coast, because you're going to be in onshore flow, your temperatures will be the warmest. Same thing for west coast. Otherwise, between 11 to 17 will be the story for the Big Land. Now, as we look ahead to the long range forecast, Saturday, Sunday will likely be a little gusty because of the hurricane that's going to pass well south of us, but we could still see that. And you're also going to see some high seas, so keep that in mind through the weekend. Overall, daytime highs will still be in the mid to upper teens, and again, some sunshine. Now, there may be a few showers, again, depending on how close the storm gets for the extreme southeastern portions of the Avalon. But for now, I'm just going to keep those skies cloudy. Now, for central Newfoundland and western Newfoundland, your temperatures are actually going to warm up as we head towards the weekend. So back to the 20s, even mid-20s by Sunday. And then for eastern Labrador, you're looking at some teen temperatures and then some rain for Sunday. That rain will come a little earlier for those of you in western Labrador. So your weekend will be a little wet, and your highs will sit between 16 and 17 degrees. Now, as we look ahead to our weather photo on the Burin Peninsula, this is Little Harbour East. Look at that great shot. A little bit of a rainbow there.
Wow.
Stunningly calm. Vanessa shared this great shot with us. Appreciate that. If you have any weather photos you'd like to share with us, we'd love to see them. You can send them to my Facebook page or email them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Oh, what a peaceful place.
I know.
So nice.
That's where I want to go hang out.
Yes. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for sending that in. And hopefully it's not too windy tomorrow, because we're going to be out of the studio tomorrow up at the field, the track and field for the Canada Games, some Canada Games coverage there. So it's going to be a fun show tomorrow, and I hope you all enjoy this.
Yep.
Good night.
Good night.